We can find the free surface loads in the workstation loads and the category surface loads. In this dialog, we can set the value for the load, and then we can draw the geometry of it. You can do that randomly, like I did now, or you can use coordinates or snapping points. And you can see that the load is drawn in the active coordinate system. We can move that coordinate system. For example, I can move it to this floor. And if I would now draw a new surface load, you will see that it is drawn in that plane. So for the example, I will delete the first one and let us focus on this one. And when we look in the property panel, we can see certain parameters. One of them is the validity. And when it's put on all, when we generate the loads, he will generate a load on every 2D member that he will find in that direction of the load. So if we go to the actions and generate the loads, then we can see that now the orange is the generated load and it's generated on all of the floors. We can right-click in the graphical window and go to the view settings. And in the tab of the loads, we can set it to original and generated. So we will have the original load visualized as well. So now we can easily select that original load and play with the parameters. So imagine that we put it on Z as 0. That means that we will only generate the load in the plane where the load is set or defined. So if we now generate the loads, you see that it is indeed only on the floor in the same plane as where we have drawn the surface load. We also have a plus set or a minus set that will give us the load on the floors above the load, the plane of the load, or below that plane. And we can include the zero level. So now it's in the 0 level and above. The last option is from to. There we can set certain values. So if I now would set minus 15 meter until plus 20 meter, and I generate the loads, then we see indeed that the load is generated from 15 meter below. So that's somewhere in this level. So this one is generated, the level itself as well. And in the top direction, it goes up to 20 meters. So up to the 64-bit, but not including it. So that's why there's no load on the top level generated. If we would increase it a bit, 20.1 meter, and generate, you will see that the top deck is included as well. I will put it again on all. And another parameter where you can play with is the select parameter. And if you play with that one and we put it on select, then we can define on which decks you want to generate the load. And that's something that you can do as well with an action. And that is the action update to the members selection. And then I can select, for example, only those two decks, and I confirm with escape. And if I now generate the loads, you see that they are only generated on those two elements. Okay, we can as well edit the load. We can select it, and we can choose in the actions for edit plane load geometry, and then we can work with the nodes of that load. So if I would change it, something like this, you see that it's now not taking the whole area in consideration. So if I generate the loads, you see that it follows my geometry of the original loads. I can do it as well with the table edit geometry as action, and here we can define new coordinates if we would like, or we can right click and insert nodes or delete nodes as well. That's also a possibility, and generate the loads again.